Welcome back to a new episode of Skin to It, your guide to healthy skin.
I'm Marlo Sutton, fashion stylist and beauty enthusiast.
And I'm Dr. Sandy Skotnicki, your trusted dermatologist.
Today, we're diving into an exciting topic.
We'll break down everything you need to know about cleansers, in particular Bioderma micellar water cleanser, and share tips to help you care for your skin like a pro.
So grab your notepads and let's get skin to it.
So we have a really great show today. Today we're going to be cleansing our way through history and skincare science with our very special guest, Dr. Elodie Valin, who is the Scientific Valorization Director of NAUS. Now, NAUS is the parent company of Bioderma, our lead sponsor for our podcast. So we're going to really be talking about a bit of the history of soap and cleansers and how we sort of ended up with the iconic micellar water by Bioderma, and sort of how it came to be, how it works, and a bit of the myths, breaking down some myths, which I really want to get to about that it leaves detergent on our skin.
Yeah, very excited. Thank you so much for being here. Elodie Valin joined NAUS as Scientific Valorization Director in 2022. She is a chemical engineer with a doctorate in cellular and molecular biology applied to the skin. She's an experienced professional with more than 15 years working in the dermo-cosmetic industry, L'Oreal, Galderma, Air Liquide's affiliate. Currently, she is managing a team of experts responsible for global market and trend analysis, competitive analysis, innovation for new products, valorization of existing portfolio, and designing all the different scientific tools for NAUS and its three brands, Bioderma, Institut Estaderm, et État Pur.
So before we get into our first question, I just want to talk about a fun fact, and I actually wanted to quiz you on this. So I got the opportunity to visit the NAUS factory in the south of France. It's Lyon, right? In Lyon?
No, it's in Aix-en-Provence.
Aix-en-Provence, that's
Even
right.
better.
Even better, yes. It was beautiful. I remember it being beautiful. And when I was in the factory, I was struck by the fact that our guide told us that the Bioderma micellar water is sold every 5 seconds around the world.
Yeah, it's even much more than that, because actually this year we have been selling one bottle each second all over the world.
There you go. So that's amazing. So that's only because I probably went, you kind of judge everything by COVID, post-COVID, pre-COVID. So it was pre-COVID, probably 5 years. So that's amazing to go from one every 5 seconds to one every second around the world.
That is totally wild. I love it.
That's amazing. So the first question, whenever we have a fantastic guest like yourself, we like to sort of ask you about your journey and how you ended up being NAUS's a Scientific Valorization Director. And maybe you can explain, because it's not a term we really use necessarily in North America, valorization. So tell us about your journey to get here. And we already learned a little bit about what you do.
So first of all, thank you for inviting me, Sandy and Marlo. I'm very honored to be here in this fascinating podcast. So actually, I've always been passionate about dermocosmetics. And I discovered skin biology, which is key in my training at L'Oreal, where I did my internship as chemical engineer. And actually, it's hard to describe, but when I saw for the first time skin cells under the microscope, it was like love at first sight.
That's amazing.
And that's why actually, and when I decided to continue with a scientific PhD sponsored by Galderma, it was an amazing experience too. And after that, I joined L'Oreal back for a postdoc. And that's actually where I also continue on the field of dermocosmetic and skin biology. And after that, I worked in a startup on connected devices for hair and skin diagnosis. And just before joining NAUS, I was in another company which was developing raw material ingredients for the dermocosmetic industry. So it was active ingredients. And 3 years ago, I moved to the southeast of France, so in Aix-en-Provence, to join NAUS and be Scientific Valorization Director.
Yeah, quick question. Just for our listeners, can you define the actual name of NAUS and dermocosmetics? Because it's something that I'm very familiar with. I think Marlo is as well, but maybe the listeners aren't familiar with those terms.
Yeah, so NAUS actually is the name of the company. It's the name of a star, a galaxy, coming from the love of our founder, Jean-Noël Torel, with a French pharmacist and biologist, for the story The Little Prince.
Mm-hmm.
And it's actually a promise to be the brightest star in the universe. So that's why we're named Naos. And regarding the dermocosmetic industry and the dermocosmetic products, it means products that are designed to bring benefits to the skin. It can be a healthy skin, but it can be also to address skin pathologies like acne, psoriasis, atopic dermatitis, and so on. So it's really the design of products, topical products, that will bring benefits to the skin.
Great. And then you're going to tell us what valorization means.
Yeah, so actually, it was to give more insight about the scientific director, saying that we have to go through the valorization. So it goes from actually the design of the concept, the scientific concept on each product that we are developing with the marketing teams, through the design of all the scientific tools to support the marketing, to support the training teams, to support the sales team, to talk to our different communities. So it can be consumers, but it can be also pharmacists, dermatologists, or medical communities, also press and influencers. And we are also the spokespersons for the company, for the different brands, in terms of press conferences, in terms of scientific and medical congresses. So it's a very wide range of activities that we are doing in the team.
Let's start with, I know, with a little history of soap and the beauty market. And of course, the way I looked at soap and washed myself and understood the industry was really from reading Sandy's book, Beyond Soap. And I love one of the main stories was all the promises that soap could actually bring to, especially a woman. We were only beautiful if we were using soap, and could only find a husband if we were using soap. It's such a fascinating look at the industry and how it began.
Yeah, I think if we're going to break down sort of the history of cleansing, we have to start at the beginning, right? So soap is so fascinating. And when I was researching for my book, Beyond Soap, I really delved into where it first started. So sapo means soap in Latin, High German, Old English. It's substance we use to wash ourselves. It dates back to, Babylonian times, 2800 BC. It's mentioned in Rome and in Greek. And, soap meaning clean was pure, was good. And so what happened, though, what Marlo's talking about, and I think it's important that we start there, is that this first beauty product was a bar of soap, was ivory. And what was interesting is, and I'm always saying this in various ways, that the beauty industry is an industry which is wonderful and it's great, but it's not always about healthcare, right? So skin health, and I think your company more than and some of the other dermocosmetic companies really, really champion that they are looking at skin health, but a lot of the beauty industry isn't. So the beauty industry, sort of the first thing was hooking a marketing term where if you use the ads from 1950s, if you use soap, you would be beautiful. If you use soap, you'd get a husband. And soap operas were started to sell soap. The housewives would be watching them and they'd look at the soap commercials, not only for like ivory, but for detergents to wash your clothing. And so the history is fascinating. And I wanted to sort of start there because traditional soaps aren't really that great for the skin. And we're going to get into that and how the evolution came from traditional soaps to cleansers, to Syndettes, to micellar cleansers, etc. So I think it's just a fascinating story. Yeah.
So I have a question for both of you, if you can really explain the difference between soaps and cleansers. And you, Sandy, you have stated that soaps are cleansers, but not all cleansers are soaps.
And I think I'm going to own that. That's going to be my sentence.
Your trademark.
My trademark. Soaps are cleansers, but not all cleansers are soap. Well, it's important. I mean, again, we look at the sort of how we've evolved in the beauty industry. So we had traditional soaps, which we talked about, high pH. So, ivory is probably the only real branded soap that's still available on the market, and it has a pH of 9 to 10. And I should mention, which is really important if I haven't before, that our normal skin pH is 4 to 6. So we do not want to be using cleansers that aren't close to our skin pH. So then we have calm bars, which is sort of the next historical iteration where we had 50% real soap and 50% synthetic detergent. And then we have beauty bars. And, Bioderma has a beauty bar. It has no real soap in it, only has synthetic detergent. So that's the sort of sodium lauryl sulfates, things like that. But they're pH adjusted is the real important point.
And they've added, you said, like glycerin, and they've added moisturizers.
They added, yeah. And I think you add glycerin and shea butter to your bar, your beauty bar. Then we have liquid cleansers, and then those lipid-free cleansers, the ones that don't foam, which a lot of patients don't like. And then we come to the iconic disruptive cleanser of micellar. So that's kind of a quick history. But I think we wanted your opinion also for you to jump in here and tell us why traditional soap bars made with vegetable fats and lye are so detrimental to our skin.
So as you just really greatly explained, Sandy, it can be very harsh for our skin because the pH is not adapted, because the composition is not adapted, and it can actually alter and weaken the skin barrier, the hydrolipidic film, but also remove lipids from the epidermis. It can cause a local inflammation, irritation, and it can negatively impact our skin microbiome. So it can trigger cutaneous imbalances like dryness, tingling sensation, pruritus, and so on. But it can also aggravate skin conditions like acne, atopy, dermatitis, and so on. So you really have to choose wisely your cleanser. And it's really true saying that not all cleansers are equal, also in terms of performance, in terms of efficacy, in terms of tolerance. So the choice is really important to respect the skin ecosystem and to preserve a healthy skin.
Mm-hmm. And again, a lot of that comes down to pH, as you said. Yeah.
Yeah. So you just mentioned the microbiome, which I really feel like I've learned so much about. And can you explain really how, you just touched on it, but how cleansers really can negatively, I guess, affect the microbiome?
Yeah, so actually, what is the microbiome? So the microbiome is all the microorganisms that live on top of the skin. So they are invisible to the eye, but they are part of the skin ecosystem. They can be bacteria, viruses, fungi, and mites. And actually, they are very important because they also protect the skin from the environment and from potential pathogens, for instance. So when we apply a product, if it's not adapted, if it's too harsh, it will also create imbalances among the microbiome. It can be triggering like the overgrowth of potential pathogens, for instance. So it's very important to have a cleanser that respects and preserves the skin microbiome, because otherwise we will trigger imbalances, and it's how a vicious circle can start also right from the cleansing step.
Yeah, I would just add too that, one of the things I learned when I was researching for the book, a microbiome at that stage, that was 2018. It was still relatively not well studied on the skin. Most of the research was in the gut. But what I did learn was the microbiome actually contributes also to our skin pH being 4 to 6. So we need a healthy microbiome in order to keep the skin pH low. And that was it's like you said, it's a symbiotic relationship. It's a feedback relationship. So I just thought that was really interesting. And there's a lot of claims now that things are microbiome protective. And the first question I ask is, what is the pH of the product? Right? You might have a prebiotic or even a postbiotic lysate, but if your pH of your product is high, all of that other stuff isn't necessarily going to help. So it really, again, all comes down to the pHs of the product is so important so that you don't disrupt the microbiome.
So can we get into the chemistry of our famous micellar, your famous micellar water?
Which we have right here. I've got the heavy duty bottles.
Oh, I get the heavy duty. I love the one, like I pump it on my...
This is a pump.
Yeah.
And then they have a little travel one, which I love because I can take it when I travel.
Oh, yeah. It's the gold standard, platinum standard. Dr. Valin, can you take us through the history of Bioderma's micellar water cleanser, please?
Yes, so actually Bioderma was a pioneer in 1995 because we were the first one to launch on the market at the time a micellar water, so our original Sensibio H2O micellar water with a pink cap. And it was at the time a breakthrough innovation because when you think about it, 30 years ago, what was the beauty routine as a cleansing? So in Europe, it was mainly a dual step. So it was a combination of milk and lotion, but it wasn't always adapted for sensitive skin and it was taking a bit of time. So our founder had a vision saying, okay, I want to make the life of women simpler and I want to respect and take care of their skin. So that's why he designed and he thought about this unique product. So the micellar water, which was making the beauty routine simpler in only just one single step, which was offering high efficacy, but also high tolerance for sensitive skin.
And can you explain what a micellar is? Like I know, but I want to hear your definition. I like to use the lollipop thing, but I don't know.
So actually, it comes from the incorporation of a specific chemical molecule, which is called a surfactant. So it has an interesting structure, these kind of molecules, because they are biomimetic of our cell's membrane, as they have a hydrophilic head, so a part of the molecule that loves water and that will bind and be soluble in water phases. And it has another part attached to this hydrophilic head, which is a lipophilic tail. And this area will make it to have an amphiphilic structure, meaning that it will be able to love at the same time water and oil phases. So it's very interesting in terms of dermocosmetic properties because it will help to bring water and oil together in only one phase.
So because just to sort of interrupt you, like for the listener who's not, because this is like for non-doctors or non-scientists, I kind of think of it like a lollipop, right? So the fat-loving part is the stick, and the water-loving part is the head, and the fat-loving part gets globs onto like oils and makeups and things, and then the water part it goes out of the water. And most detergents are like just lots of those, but you in your detergent, your micellar cleanser, you just sort of disperse these little lollipops, or actually all the lollipops in a little glob.
Yes, they are actually in the water phase. They will try to spontaneously aggregate at a certain concentration into spheres that are called micelles.
That's it.
And that's what brings the efficacy of the product. And that's what gives the name also of the product. The micellar technology is at the heart of the micellar water. So there are small spheres, small balls of surfactant that are organized like this. And it will change when you apply it, when you pour the product on the cotton pad, because the micelles will open up and they will help to remove the dirt at the surface of the skin, because the head of the lollipop will stay attached to the cotton pad while the stick of the lollipop will remove the dirt, makeup, the sebum at the surface of the skin.
Yeah, that's a great description.
I guess that's why they call it the miracle water.
Yes,
it is miracle water. And actually, that's my next question: is like, why do you think Bioderma's micellar water was so revolutionary? Like, I mean, it really was disruptive. It's 30 years ago. It's your 30th anniversary this year, which is exciting. Yeah. And like, because we really moved away from like lotions, cleaning without foaming. Like that was sort of what was happening, like you said, at that time, which is great. It's great for the skin, but it's harder to clean the skin if things don't foam. So what do you think made it so revolutionary?
Actually, I think the secret is it's the perfect combo between efficacy, tolerance, and also skincare benefits. And it's really what comes back from the field, actually, because when it was first introduced to the dermatologist, they were like it's water. How come that water will remove makeup? They were a bit astonished about that, but they were really convinced about the efficacy of the product that was cleansing the skin in one single step without making any reactions, even on sensitive skin. And it was also bringing efficacy on soothing the skin, bringing hydration and glow. So they saw it, and also it came from another kind of people, which were beauty artists and makeup artists, because it was widely used on the runways, on the beauty shows, and so on by movie stars. And actually, it came by itself. So it was growing and growing over the years, and it makes its name a bit by itself. So we are quite surprised, sometimes to see like big stars that are making videos or podcasts or TikTok videos on their own, without Bioderma asking, just because the product is so efficient.
Right. Well,
So,
that's a testament. When you don't have to pay somebody who's very famous to talk about your product, you know that it's revolutionized that particular area, in this instance, cleansing.
So I think you really just answered my question. If you think micellar water is really all you need to remove, your sunscreen, your makeup, any dirt pollution from the day, or do you think you sometimes need to double cleanse?
Double cleanse, yeah. Double cleanse is such a controversial thing. Yeah, take us through your sort of ideas on that.
So actually, it's a good question. If you consider the efficacy of the product, it's good on its own. Actually, you don't need an extra step. So it's much more about what the person wants, what is the beauty habit of the person, and if they love double cleansing, so it's totally compatible. I would recommend to use a rinse-off product before, because sometimes, depending on the quality of your water, it can be harsh, it can be calcareous, and leave some molecules at the surface of the skin. So you can finish with Sensibio H2O to leave a perfect clean skin and well hydrated and so on. So it's really much more about habits and beauty routine and trends than a need to use a double cleansing.
Well, and that brings us to another sort of. So I've talked about your product a lot. I've given presentations at conferences on micellar water, the Sensibio H2O, and there's some arguments. There's one influencer beauty person in the UK who's very much against micellar waters in general, because she says they leave detergent on the skin. And I know I've seen your studies, and I know that it doesn't. And you also have biomimetic ingredients, which I want to touch on later, about how they restore the microbiome, sorry, the skin barrier. But let's first of all tackle this sort of debate that your cleanser and other micellar cleansers leave detergent on the skin.
So you're totally right, Sandy. It's a well-known misconception, actually, and it's totally false. So we have performed a lot of clinical studies. We have more than 30 clinical studies, tested the product on more than 1,600 people all over the world, so on different skin types, skin ethnicities. And actually, these wrong ideas come from the fact that the micellar water could leave some detergent residue on the skin. And actually, if you consider the mode of action and what we just discussed with the micelles, you understand that the micelles will be removed from the skin surface because they will remain attached to the cotton pad instead of staying on the skin. It's really funny that people are concerned actually about the micellar waters that can leave surfactant on their skin, because I know that they are non-rinse products, but if you consider a cream or a serum that are also non-rinse products, they are much more composed of surfactant and at higher concentration than micellar water. So it's
and they're much more damaging.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you consider, but still they can be respectful of the skin, but the quantities are not the same. So here we have strong evidences showing that leaving on the product is useful. You will remove the impurities through the cotton pad, but you will leave the benefits of the active ingredients for skincare benefits, soothing efficacy, moisturization, and glow. And we have performed studies, face, on some part of the face, we rinsed off the product, which is not the normal use, and on the other one, we left it on, and we saw a real difference in terms of efficacy. For instance, there was 12% more hydration on the part where we left the product on, and the cheek, for instance, was 6 times more hydrated than when rinsing it off. So it's really, if you want to benefit.
I want to make a point there that water is actually on its own damaging to our skin. And when you tell people that, they're kind of going, what are you talking about? Aren't we made up of water? But the outer part of our skin is like, that brick wall, and the water it diminishes the mortar, right? So, and the hotter the water. So, and a lot of water, I went way deep on all this stuff for the book. Like water can be high pH. Like in our tap water in Canada is about pH 8. Remember, our skin is 4 to 6. Swimming pools, I think, can be a little higher. Even the sea, the ocean is like a pH of 7. So what you just said was leaving the micellar cleanser on your skin is actually more beneficial than rinsing it off because the water is damaging.
Well, I mean, I love it because it's easy. I feel really refreshed when I use it, and I especially love it. And I'm probably think this was a consideration because I also use it to take off my eye makeup.
Me too. Yeah.
And I find a lot of cleansers I've used in the past will leave a residue, will leave a film on my eyes, but the micellar water does not.
Mm-hmm.
It really, it's wonderful. And I just sort of soak my lashes a little bit and wipe it off. And
yeah, it's great to make it. When you were making the product, I think I'm actually taking the sales out of your question here, but did you consider like eye makeup removal? Because it is a bit more challenging to sometimes remove that.
Yes, we actually, the formulating team was taking into consideration being able to remove all kind of impurities and makeup all over the face. So in one just single step. So that's why they conceived this minimalist formula, because it only contains 10 ingredients. It's unfragranced for optimal tolerance. It's formulated, as you say, at physiological pH, which is so important to respect the skin. And we have also selected a mild surfactant, which will help to have a great efficacy, but great tolerance. And we have very good efficacy results under ophthalmological and dermatological control. So very good tolerance for both eye and skin.
So that's kind of my next question. And in some of your literature online and when people are talking about it, they talk about biomimetic ingredients. So to me, and I'll have you define it as well, but it's ingredients that are actually already kind of present in our skin. And so we're mimicking what's in our skin in the formula. And I think one of the studies that really struck me when I first started to look into your micellar cleanser is that you show, and you kind of already alluded to it, that because of the biomimetic ingredients in the cleanser, when you finish cleansing, you actually moisturize the skin a little bit and you protect and actually sometimes repair the skin barrier. Because a lot of cleansers damage the skin barrier because it's this delicate balance of washing their skin and removing dirt and impurities, but not damaging our skin barrier and our skin microbiome. So give us your definition of biomimetic ingredients. And I can't remember in the terms, the name of the ingredients are really not important, but if you want to throw some of them out just for fun, that are in the cleanser.
So actually, biomimetism is part of our unique approach, which is ecobiology. So ecobiology, eco comes for ecosystem. So because we consider the skin as a living ecosystem, and biology because we act with the skin's biology to help the skin to support its natural mechanism. And to support the natural mechanism, we select and we prefer biomimetic ingredients. As you said, Sandy, it's ingredients that are naturally present within the skin or that naturally interacting with the biological natural mechanism of the skin, and that will be totally adapted and recognized by the skin ecosystem. So it will be the perfect balance with affinity, tolerance, and efficacy. And if we consider Sensibio H2O, we have a product that contains 99.6% of biomimetic ingredients. For instance, the micellar technology and also the DAF technology, which will help to increase the tolerance threshold of sensitive skin. So it's very important and it's key for the efficacy and tolerance.
So I have it obviously right here. This one is the there's two when we go to buy it here in Canada. So we have either the pink top or the blue top.
Yeah.
Can you just maybe explain the difference between those two?
And is there a green one too? Is there 3 or just 2?
Yeah, we have a green one too.
Yeah.
Okay.
So what are the differences?
So if you consider the red one, so I have it here also. So it's the original micellar water, so the Sensibio. Sensibio is the range for sensitive skin. So it's the one that is celebrating its 30th anniversary this year. And we have also the blue one here, which is the Hydrabio range. So this one is designed for dehydrated skin. So it's not for sensitive skin, but much more for dehydrated. So we will have ingredients that are specifically targeting hydration and how to enhance skin hydration. The green one, is for acne-prone skin. So it will help to reduce and lower the sebum quantity at the surface of the skin. So you will have cleansing efficacy, high tolerance, but for sensitive skin, dehydrated skin, or acne-prone skin.
Do we have that one in Canada?
The green?
I don't know.
I don't think we do. I mean, I think that's a great additive, but I mean, I recommend the red one or the pink one for patients with acne, especially when they're on Accutane, which is a drug that really dries them out. Yeah. So I want to come back again just quickly to the pH of a product. So I did a presentation. This is an anecdote at a conference for Bioderma, and I researched and I wanted to get the pH of all the different micellar waters that were out there. And then I put it up on a slide and I put the pH underneath. And it's interesting as consumers, I'd really like pH to be put on the bottle. And what was interesting when I was preparing for that talk was almost half of them were not in the pH of 4 to 6. They were much higher. So not all cleansers, as we've already mentioned, are created equally. Unfortunately for a consumer, the pH is not going to be on the bottle, but most of the micellar water cleansers I looked at were not between 4 to 6 like yours is. So I think that's just an important thing I wanted to mention. And is there anything you wanted to add? Like why isn't pH put on the bottle, and why do so many people who manufacture skincare not consider it?
Yeah, I don't know why it's not a regulation option to put it on the packaging. That's true that we always evaluate the pH of all of our formulas or aqueous formulas, and we have ranges, and we have to stay under these specific ranges. So we know, for instance, as you said, that it's key to maintain a healthy skin. And for instance, with Sensibio H2O, we have a pH that is between 4.5 to 5.5 max. So we are really at the right physiological skin pH, and it will help to respect the skin ecosystem, respect the skin barrier, preserve the hydrolipidic film, and also preserve the microbiome diversity.
And that's why it feels so good. Yeah, exactly.
And I just have a question that's, can you, by using products that are at the correct pH level, can you reverse damage that you may have done prior?
Yes, indeed, because it will help to rebalance the skin, to relaunch the natural mechanisms. The microbiome can also restore the diversity if you help it to have the right pH. So yeah, it can, for both the microbiome and the skin cells, it will be beneficial to bring back balance through the pH of a product.
Let's, if you don't mind, can we talk a little bit about cleansing balms and cleansing oils? Maybe your thoughts on that. I know Bioderma has a cleansing oil. I use the body one in my shower.
The shower wash. Yeah, the shower gel is an oil. I think this is kind of if we go back to the history also of just cleansing, we had bars, we had this, and the oils and balms are just, again, the next iteration of sort of cleansing and market, trying to sell things.
Yes, and they are offering actually a choice for the consumers to find the right galenic, the one that they are most fond of, actually. So you can have shower oils. Often they are not 100% oils. They are a bit of oil, and it's also water, surfactants, and so on. It can be for the whole body, but you also have cleansing balm and oils for the face. So it's really offering the consumer different types of texture that they can choose, that they can select. And the most important is to have in mind that cleansing is a key step, not to neglect. So they have to choose the right product that will suit them and that they will use over the long term.
Yeah, I think that's a great way of putting it. So it's not necessarily more beneficial. Maybe that's your question. I mean, because part of the problem with cleansing with water is you're damaging that barrier function with removing natural oils, potentially the microbiome. And so when you have a balm or an oil, you're kind of replacing that. I think that's sort of the selling point. But a lot of it is just personal preference. Like yes. I am so lazy and busy. I just put a little bit of this on a pad. I'm done. And I remember I was being interviewed by some influencer about what a tip was. I said, well, I don't use water on my face. I just use micellar cleanser, which is a type of water. And then I had all this negative comments. Who doesn't wash their face with water? Like, what? Why is water bad? Like, because there's such a misconception. So, like the balms and the oils to me it's a great way of putting it, Dr. Valin. There's just more choice.
Are we going to get into our little
so we're going to end off
skin
with,
and no skin?
We're going to end up with some fun questions. Okay. So
Marlo
started
questions.
this, and it was her idea. I'm going to give her all the credit to do fun rapid fire questions. And instead of saying true or false, you say, if it's true, you say skin. If it's false, you say no skin. Okay. And we're both going to answer them. So
yes, you both answer these questions for everybody.
Guess goes first.
So washing your face in the shower, is this bad for your skin?
I would say skin and no skin. It depends on the product.
Actually, we should say there's a third. There's a third
baby, or
there's a third category: skin, no skin, and it depends. Yeah,
exactly. Because it depends. If it's an adapted product, then you can wash under the shower. But it also depends on the quality of your water, and it depends also on the temperature of the water. So
actually, that's a good point. My answer was going to be generally no skin, because the water in the shower is usually really hot, and you end up using more because you're kind of just lathering. I think washing your face should be separate. That's partly because you might not have the right product in the shower. You might the water's too hot, which hot water is going to damage your skin more. So I think we're in agreement on that one. Sort of, it depends,
Most
but
likely no.
We're kind of trending towards the no skin. Yeah.
Bar soap is a facial skincare disaster.
True or false?
Skin.
Yeah, skin. Definitely
Okay.
skin. Yeah.
Okay. So we're not just using a bar soap.
Oh, we're saying no skin. So it's not good for us. It's not good. It's not good. The question was bar soap is a facial. I guess we have to define.
Yeah.
So,
if I say it is, if I'm saying it's a disaster, you're saying yes, it is a disaster.
yes, it is a disaster. So no skin. Yeah. Okay.
So skin.
Oh, so skin.
Sandy.
Yes. Okay. I'm getting it up backwards. We're in agreement.
Okay. More foam equals a better cleanse.
No skin.
Yeah, no skin.
No skin. If your face feels tight after washing, that means it's really clean.
No skin.
No skin.
I think I can answer these questions. We maybe need tougher questions. Double cleansing is only necessary if you wear heavy makeup or sunscreen.
No skin if you have a good product.
Yeah, if you have a good product.
Well, yeah, and we have it right here. That's all we need.
I think it's great to go over these once we've explained all the science, because now hopefully our listeners will be, coming up with the same answers.
Yeah.
So I think we wanted to sort of chat about what we all actually do. And I've already sort of explained.
Routines, yeah.
I just use that on a pad. That's it. I very rarely use a cleanser to wash my face with water. I will sometimes if I've, had a lot of sunscreen on. Maybe I went to an event, I had really heavy makeup on, false eyelashes or something. Like I like to have a little, and I usually use a non-foaming cleanser because I'm incredibly sensitive. So milk cleanser. How about you? What do you do?
Yeah, definitely micellar, obviously. And I have the pink one, but I do not have sensitive skin. So I will go out and get the blue one once I'm finished with my bottle.
Try it for difference. See
if I feel the difference. And I do have a cleansing balm that I use once in a while, and mostly just because it feels nice.
Self-care
a little bit.
Yep.
Yeah.
And how about you, Dr. Valin? What do you do when you wash your face at night?
So obviously Sensibio H2O, and as you said, Sandy, earlier, I have also the small travel size, to take everywhere with me, and I have it today in my bag to just, have a pretty face before the podcast. But I also sometimes love to use a new product that we have launched. So it's the micellar oil, which is just right behind me, this one on the shelf. So it's a rinse off product, but it's very interesting because it's also designed for sensitive skin, and it will nourish the skin. So it's very the skin feel is very nice after the.
So if I could it has the micellar technology, but it's an oil and it's a wash off product.
Yes.
So again,
exactly.
having more choice, that's great.
That's great. And
Yeah.
do we have that here?
I think we do. I think we have it in Canada. Yeah. I think
Okay,
we
yeah.
do.
No, I need that. Okay.
So I think we just wanted to end off if there's anything you wanted to add to our listeners. Like this podcast, we really wanted to do a podcast to sort of break through the noise, all the, get a deep dive on a topic that you can't get on a 30-second reel. Is there anything you wanted to add about cleansers in general, or the Sensibio H2O micellar cleanser by Bioderma?
So first, thank you for giving me the opportunity to have this amazing discussion with both of you. I would like to say maybe just to wrap up that as we discussed in this podcast, that not all cleansers are equivalent in terms of benefits, efficacy, and tolerance. So you really have to choose depending on your skin needs and select the product that is adapted to your skin. And second, do not forget that cleansing is really the first step of the skincare routine, so it must not be neglected because it will help actually to prepare the skin for the serum and cream that you apply next. So it's really key in the beauty routine and also to help skin conditions.
Mm-hmm. Great. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so, so much. That was really wonderful.
Yeah, we had a great discussion. Thank you for all our listeners for listening, and we'll see you next time on Skin to It podcast.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Please let us know what you thought of today's episode.
If you have any questions or thoughts, send me a message on social at Dr. Sandy Skotnicki. And don't forget, all the links and resources we mentioned are in the show notes.
And if you haven't already, please subscribe and leave us a review. It helps us to bring you the content you love.
Until next time, take care, and we'll see you next week on Skin to It.